All right, welcome back. We've all heard the saying, right? Love is the answer. It's on posters, it's in songs. But what if? What if the very thing we call love, that intense, personal, I love you feeling, is actually creating more problems than it solves? So let's dive into that. We're going to dig into this really fascinating distinction that kind of challenges our most basic ideas about emotion. And it all boils down to this one question. Is the love we talk about every day really the reliable, universal force for good that we all think it is? Okay, so first up, let's talk about love's surprising downside. Because it turns out that some very old wisdom traditions saw a fundamental instability in love that, honestly, we tend to completely overlook. And the key to unlocking this whole idea comes from the ancient Pali language. It draws this super sharp line between two concepts that we tend to just mush together: pema, which is our familiar idea of love, and mettā, which is something else entirely: universal goodwill. So let's start with prema. This is the love we all know and feel, right? It's a partial, preferential affection for specific people: our family, our best friends, our partner, and that's the key right there. By its very nature, it's selective. It picks and chooses. And here's the problem with being so selective. Because this kind of love is partial, it's also incredibly unstable. I mean, think about it. If you love someone, you will almost automatically feel anger or even hatred toward anyone who threatens them or hurts them. Love for your side creates hatred for the other side. They're like a package deal. Okay, so if that partial love is flawed, what's the alternative? This is where mettā, or goodwill, comes into the picture, and it's a much more reliable, much more stable foundation for how we act in the world.
So, unlike love, goodwill is an impartial and, really, a limitless wish for the genuine happiness of all beings. It's not about fondness, it's not about affection, it's more like a principled, universal stance of just wanting others to find true well-being.
And what's so fascinating is how goodwill actually operates. It creates no us versus them. You don't have to like someone to extend goodwill toward them. And it doesn't change based on how they act. It's a constant, stable state of mind, kind of like the sun shining on everyone equally, no matter who they are. This quote from the source really puts it all into perspective. This is not about warm, fuzzy feelings. It's a pretty profound commitment to wish well even to those we find difficult or annoying or even repulsive, because their genuine happiness, when you think about it, ultimately harms no one. Now, this is where a huge misunderstanding often pops up, and it's all centered around a pretty famous analogy. Let's clear up this whole mother's love misconception. I'm sure you've heard this before, right? The common interpretation is that we should feel that intense, protective, partial love that a mother has for her child, but somehow feel that for everybody. The problem is, that's a complete misreading of the original instruction. And here it is. This is the aha moment. The real instruction is to protect your state of goodwill with the same fierce, unwavering commitment that a mother shows when she's protecting her child. The focus isn't on the target of the emotion, it's on protecting the quality of the emotion itself. So let's just break that down for a second. A mother's love is partial, right? It's pema. The analogy isn't asking us to replicate that feeling for 7 billion people. It's telling us to guard our universal goodwill, our mettā, so that it never, ever gets corrupted by anger or hatred no matter what happens. That is a radically different instruction. So all this brings us to a big question. Why is goodwill considered a perfection? Why is it seen as such a foundational, skillful quality of mind? Well, it's not just a nice sentiment. It's an incredibly powerful mental tool. It really boils down to 4 key things. First, goodwill is actually a form of wisdom, of discernment. Second, it focuses on the real causes of happiness, not just the results. Third, and this is huge, it protects your own mind from negativity. And finally, it's the foundation for all sorts of other virtues, like generosity and patience. And really think about what this means, because it's a huge shift. Goodwill isn't about wishing someone wins the lottery. It's about wishing they develop the inner skills, the understanding, the causes that lead to their own lasting happiness. Because genuine well-being isn't just random luck. It comes from skillful action. Now, to really get how goodwill protects your mind, there is this brilliant analogy. Imagine all your past negative actions are just one lump of salt. So, if your mind is small, if it's reactive and it lacks goodwill, picture it like a tiny cup of water. That one lump of salt makes the whole thing completely undrinkable. You're just totally overwhelmed by the negativity. But what if you cultivate this vast, limitless goodwill? Your mind then becomes like a great flowing river. That same lump of salt just dissolves without a trace. Your mental state is so expansive and so pure that all that past negativity loses its power to poison you in the present. Okay, let's bring this all down to earth with one final, super practical example that makes the distinction crystal clear. A judge in a courtroom.
So think about a judge acting from love, from pema. They'd be biased, right? If it was their kid on trial, they'd let them off the hook, and that creates injustice. But a judge acting from goodwill, from mettā, is totally different. Their motivation is the impartial well-being of everyone involved. Their actions are firm but fair, and the goal is to protect society while also genuinely wishing for the criminal to understand their mistakes and find a real path to rehabilitation. And this shows us something really important. Goodwill isn't weak or permissive. It's the very thing that allows for real strength, for justice, for making difficult decisions, because it comes from a place of unshakable impartiality, totally free from the corruption of personal bias.
So that kind of leaves us with a question to carry with us, doesn't it? In our daily conflicts, in our disagreements at work or at home, in all our relationships, where could we maybe benefit from dialing down that reactive, partial, I love you, I hate you cycle, and dialing up a stable, impartial goodwill for everyone involved? It's definitely something to think about. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in.